Hey, good morning, everyone. Tractorman 44 here. Hey, you know, whenever you come up with another new old tractor, there's always little incidentals that you have to look at and take care of and everything. The first thing we're going to give attention to on this is going to be the carburetor. I know it probably needs cleaning. We'll just take it apart, clean it, put it back together and see what happens. But we're going to give some attention to the fuel delivery. You can see right now I've got the fuel actually draining into my can right here. It does not have a petcock and a sediment bulb under the bottom of the tank, but that's normal. A lot of times guys just go ahead and put a regular 1/4 inch flare fitting in the line or shut off in the line, and that's what we've got here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check and see if I've got a sediment bolt, and then we'll move on and check and see if the alternator's got output and all that. So hang in there with us, and we'll slowly get this thing looking a little bit better. One thing you'll find out working on these little tractors, a lot of patience, a little WD-40 and a few wrenches will get you pretty far down the path making one of these things go. Yeah, I'd say it needs a little bit of servicing. Well, we had got the carburetor off and I took the mounting screws, the 4 screws that actually hold it together, but I've not separated it yet. The gaskets actually broke loose, so that's a good sign. Well, the normal crud, brass is all nasty and dingy. It's got a lot of sediment and everything on it, and that'll actually affect the float level of the carburetor. Just that little bit of weight that you might think is just minuscule on those floats will actually have an effect on where they float inside that fuel. This will all have to be completely clean. Here's my nozzle down in here. I'll have to pull that out and get this this jet out here. And we're going to put everything in, and there's your main jet, your main adjustment down here. I'll have to get all that into this fella right here. Now, if you guys watch my videos very long, you know I use an ultrasonic parts washer. Well, I've always had that little 2-quart parts washer, and on these larger carburetors, you actually have to take them apart and put them in half at a time, and then you can only do 3/4 or so of each one of those halves, so you have to really fiddle with it in order to get the entire carburetor done. Well, what I did is I put a request in for a 10-quart. This is a 2.5 gallon capacity. I've not even plugged it in yet. It's a 240 watt, 110 volt parts washer, ultrasonic of course. I've not even taken the protective stuff off of it, but I did open up and have everything pulled out. It's got a nice little bag and everything, but this is going to hold 2.5 gallons or 10 quarts essentially. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing, get a little bit of stuff in there. We're going to see how much I've got. I don't think I got 2.5 gallons of it, but we're going to put in what I got and go from there. Now, if you take a look at the float, you can see that float needs some serious cleaning. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of goober on it, and also the pin, the pivot pin, was pretty rough. I had a tough time getting that out of there, so it has not been apart very recently, I don't think. And another thing, if you're going to use chemical carburetor cleaner, you want to make sure before you submerge a whole bunch of stuff is that you know exactly what kind of needle jet you've got in there. If you have the one that has the newer rubber seats, you want to be very careful, because I don't know for sure that the material that's on those rubber tips is of a material that will sustain activity inside this chemical dip carburetor cleaner. So this here is all steel or stainless steel, so we'll be in no problem with this one. But now if you take a look, got a lot of nasty rust and everything in here. I'm going to go ahead and just put a little pressure on these jets, the idle jet, main jet, and all that stuff, which is down inside the other one, and see if I can crack them loose. If I cannot crack them loose, what we'll do is we'll run a few cycles in the ultrasonic parts washer and see if that doesn't make them release real easily. Most of the time it does, but my little Venturi right here, it's actually kind of oxidized and in place, so I'm not even going to work on that. That's some kind of a cast aluminum or possibly a zinc material, I don't know. I don't want to put any pressure on that and damage it, so we'll run her through there and then see what happens. There's about 1 gallon in there right now. So now I got to go ahead and plug it in and figure out how to make it work. Now you got to make sure that your float sinks. If not, it'll just kind of float to the top, and part of it will be clean and the other part won't. The heavier part right here will hang down. So what you got to do is you got to just take a few minutes and make a boy float out of it. You know what I mean? So now you should go ahead and sink. I think that's close enough. Just for what it's worth, this is the carburetor chem dip that I use. It's a Berryman product. This is not sponsored or anything like that. It's just something I found that's really good. I think the EPA's got onto them. They've had to reformulate their the formula and everything. That's not nearly as caustic nor as aggressive as it was back a few years. This is the first time I've used this ultrasonic, and I'm sure you can probably hear the frequency, the buzzing, the humming of the frequency. And I went through the manual to actually try to do it the correct way. The manual actually is useless. It's not written in Chinese, but what it is it's for the fancier version that has the touchpad electronic keyboard, apparently, because it has absolutely nothing concerning the dials. This guy here, you merely turn it to the time that you want, up to 30 minutes, and it'll shut itself automatically, and you can set your temperature that you want it to heat to from 30 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees Celsius. I don't know if you can see these little bubbles and things and the turbulence and disturbance coming up through the cleaning solution, but that's what that vibration is doing, that ultrasonic or ultra high frequency vibration is doing. And it's in there working all that stuff loose, all that particulate, and it's going to release the hold that stuff has on those jets and all that stuff just as quickly as possible. Well guys, when I got that carburetor apart, I found out that my gasket's deteriorated. Of course, it's pretty thin and stuff anyway. Probably was going to have to put a new one in. But we're going to go ahead about the business of making a new gasket for it. So I went ahead and lined out my my punches. A lot of you guys probably make your own gaskets. And you can do it, very easily as long as you have a few punches. You don't even need to have punches. You can actually just use a ball peen hammer and lay them out. But this has to be a variety of punches I got to choose from. For the mounting holes and things like that, and then the holes where that are in line with the jets and all that stuff, So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Now I got to go ahead and get the carburetor base out of here and go ahead and turn it upside down, trace out my gasket in the gasket material, and then go back to business of cutting it. See the steam coming off of that? Had that set for 50 degrees centigrade today. Now guys, I'm going to show you something some of you might have never seen. This actually is a drill index, and it's a drill index that goes from size number drill, size 19, all the way to number 60 over here. Now those are getting to be some very small drills by the time you get there. And they've got a hex drive on them right here so that you can conveniently use them in a drill. These are specific bits for drilling orifices or adjusting orifice sizes in natural gas and LP gas furnaces. This is actually another drill index that goes from number 60 to number 80. You can tell it's about the size of a matchbook. If you open up and look inside, you'll see that we have number 61 right here, all the way down here to this little filament, which is an 80 all the way down here. Now I know that's very difficult for you to focus on. I don't know that I can even get the camera focused, but that's a total drill bit right there, total drill bit set. It picks up where that other drill bit lets off, and these are pilot orifices or pilot orifice drill bits. So if you look at this right here, I've got a number 63 drill bit out of that small pilot orifice set, and it's in the pin vise. You literally open it up just like a chuck, and you insert your drill bit in and tighten it back down, and now you're able to use this as a hand or a finger operated drill to drill holes, all right, in those soft brass orifices or aluminum orifices in your furnaces. However, whenever you get down to these carburetors, here's our actual nozzle that actually goes all the way down through the center and rests on top of the main jet, and then it's got the needle valve that actually adjusts the amount of fuel that comes out of the main jet and goes up into the intake of the manifold. Well, this thing here has opposing holes crossways. Some of them have as many as 8 holes all the way across one. This guy here only has 5. 3 of these was plugged up solid, and it's perfectly a number 63 drill bit that allowed me to just punch those out and just remove that was solid material but softened so much by my carburetor cleaner in that ultrasonic washer. And that allows me to go ahead and clean those just as neatly as can be without adjusting the diameter of the holes. You do not want to adjust the diameter of the hole. You're going to create a bit of a problem with your carburetor. Now if you look, this one right here is just a little bit smaller, so I'm going to have to get a smaller drill bit and clean this last hole right here. And of course the entire nozzle is hollow all the way through. And for what it's worth, this is just a little bit of a larger pin vise right here. It's easier for you to break the drill bits whenever you get bigger like this which is why I always prefer this little fella right here. Well, guys, you can tell the video just kind of ended right there. I managed somehow or another to misplace, delete, or whatever, some real cool footage of where I went down into the into death row and pulled some parts and pieces off a couple of other tractors that netted me very nice, complete 44 carburetor. And also, I managed to lose all the soldering footage of the float. You can see here, I still got my soldering stuff setting out and everything. I did get that on TikTok, but somehow or another, I don't have it. I don't have the footage for YouTube. I did manage to come up with the spare float out of that carburetor, which is also a good float, so that's really good. So in the event that the footage you didn't see, the soldered float gives me a problem and has still another crack that I didn't see yet, or it just is absolutely beyond repair, I still have me a replacement float right here available. So I apologize for that, and I did get these videos a little out of sequence because I wanted to do that gasket making video in the middle of them. I think in that is where I ended up deleting the wrong footage. The 44 is up and running, still got a lot of cosmetic stuff to do to it. If I need it to go to work, it definitely can do that. That's the end of this one here, guys. This Tractor Man 44, I'm out of here.